Hey everybody, welcome to the Fantasy Fiction Podcast. My name is Dominic.
My name is Josh.
And today we are here to bring you tales of necromancy.
Necromancy.
Necromancers, to be exact. This was actually, if you listened to the previous episode and noticed there was a prompt missing, it's because we got drunk and forgot to do one.
Yeah.
So we asked on Twitter and Facebook, and we got a lot of great suggestions, and I just realized in saying this that we don't have a prompt for next week.
We don't.
So we'll have to go through those and pick another one. But this week's prompt was submitted by Marius Highland, and I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong because I'm terrible at pronouncing things. But Marius, thank you for the suggestion. It's a good one.
That is a very fantasy name you have.
It is. Do you wear armor to work? That's my only question.
Yes, if you do, make a podcast and tell us that you do, or don't. Maybe
Call it
don't.
the Marius Gregarious
Marius cast, where I answer questions.
Where I answer questions about my armor. First order of business, I just wanted to say thank you guys for reviewing and rating the podcast on iTunes. I had no idea you guys were doing this. I just checked it today because I finally found the working iTunes link, and which I'll provide in this episode, of course.
It's awesome. Thank you for writing down the positive 5-star reviews.
Yes, but there were 2 negative reviews.
There's 2 negative reviews. Are we going to read the negative reviews right now?
Yeah, Josh, you want to read them?
All right, I'll read them. First one is from APT314. I'm assuming that's your apartment number. You gave us 1 star. And you said, well, by their own admission, the stories are stupid, so I don't feel bad agreeing with them. If someone tells you who they are, believe them.
On that logic, I'm just going to start telling people that I'm Paul Ritchie.
That makes perfect sense. They'll believe you if they follow his advice.
If you don't know who Paul is part of Continue in the Continue cast, which I guess, should we say it?
I think we have to now, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to be, well, Josh is always on the Continue cast.
Yeah, I'm going to be on it. I hope.
But I hope so. I hope you make it there. But they asked us to do fantasy fiction on the Continue cast, so Josh and I will write a story together and read it on the Continue cast along with the regular business of the Continue cast. And they all have a prompt as well, and the prompt for that is Secret Dark Council.
Yes.
So Josh came up with that one. And so I guess it's going to be not the week that you're hearing this, but the week after.
Right.
So look for that, and I'm sure we'll share it on the Twitter and Facebook.
And I don't even know what day that show comes out. I think it's a Sunday.
Yeah, it's posted Sundays, yeah.
That's a day.
I fully believe that you don't know which day it comes out.
No, I totally know.
But
I've got one more thing to read. Hold on.
Oh yeah, you got one more bad
this
review.
One's the good one. I saved the best one for last. The title, I guess you title comments. That's a thing. The title is Funny If You're a 13-Year-Old Boy, and it is written by Adventure. So he's serious about adventure.
Yeah, well, don't fucking tease him with this podcast about fantasy stories, and then it's just 2 idiots talking about blowjobs.
Blowjobs and boners and stuff. I mean, who wants to listen to that shit?
Who wants to listen to this crap?
So he says, I guess this podcast would be hilarious if I were one or more of the following, number 1, a 13-year-old boy, which is where his title comes from. 2, amused by foul language. Dude, every fucking buddy is amused by fucking foul language.
Every shit-ass person loves it.
Every goddamn idiot, boner, fart person loves fucking foul language.
Exactly.
3, living in my parents' basement, which, I mean, I don't know. There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that, especially if you're a 13-year-old boy. That's pretty dope.
Yeah, dude, you get to jerk off nonstop.
It's just, oh man,
it's just like cum fest down there. Jesus, that's weird. 4, also a fan of brain dead humor. But I am not any of those things. While I appreciate the concepts of fantasy fiction and encouraging writers to hone their craft, I don't think this podcast actually does anything redeemable. Which is maybe the truest statement ever.
Yeah, I would I'll go ahead and agree with them that if you do like cursing, listen to the podcast. I'm going to advertise that.
Yeah, that's
hey,
good.
you kids like cursing? Got a podcast for you.
You cool kids like cursing in your basement?
Got a fucking podcast for you.
Yeah, man. Also, thank you to everyone who wrote positive 5-star reviews. I read them all, and they were awesome. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. It's very nice of you guys to take the time to do that. We appreciate that. I also want to thank Ryan Kolaski for doing an amazing illustration of Frightnor the Wizard and Super Fangs the Bat Beast / drug dealer.
Dude. Dude, it's so good. You're like a goddamn Walt Disney.
Like a goddamn Walt Disney.
Like a motherfucking pee-hole Walt Disney.
It was a great drawing. It's up on the Facebook and the Twitter. The Twitter handle is FantasyFicPod, and the Facebook is just Fantasy Fiction. If you just search that, you'll find it. It is an amazing illustration. Ryan, you're super talented. Thank you for spending time to do that. That was awesome.
It's really good. It's
incredibly
super good.
flattering. And with that, Josh, what did you do this week?
I didn't do anything really. I mean, I edited some stuff. I got drunk yesterday, which is...
Good. You need to get those out of the way.
Yeah, you got to get like one or two
every
of those.
Day.
Yes, every day. Yep.
Yeah, anything fun? Any plans for the weekend?
There's some smart guy shit going on,
which
already has happened. If you're listening to this, so I don't know. Maybe it was good or bad. I don't know. I don't know yet.
Maybe you're alive. Maybe you're dead.
Maybe I could be dead on Monday.
What did I do this week? Well, I had leftover beer from my birthday, and there was a lot of it, so I've been drinking a lot of beer and going to work and working on this podcast.
That's like the best week ever.
And drawing and doing some drawing. Always doing some
drawing. That's good.
Oh, I'm taking a storyboarding class, and we got to look at storyboards from Thundar the Barbarian.
Oh,
if you're familiar with that cartoon.
I saw that you had said that. You did that.
Dude, holy shit, these boards will blow your mind. It's like a goddamn comic book. It's insane.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, I love Thundar. Thundar's a great cartoon.
Is he the one with the bloops?
No, that's the Herculoids.
I get those confused all the time.
Yeah, that's a fun cartoon too, but it's all about Thundar the Barbarian. It's like a post-apocalyptic world where the Earth is like shattered and there's magic exists now, but it also like some modern technology exists.
Cool.
So it's like sci-fi fantasy kind of, and it's really awesome.
That's awesome.
And Thundar fucking hates wizards.
Dude, why?
Because he's a goddamn barbarian, man. He hates those fucking wizards.
Man, that's fucking racist. That's
Well,
just prejudiced as hell.
Well, times are different. It was a different time.
It's true. Was it 70s? Is that from the 70s?
I think so. Yeah,
early 80s maybe.
Early 80s. Now it was Jack Kirby worked on the show, I believe. So it was probably like the 70s or something, or maybe even the late 60s.
You know what cartoon I miss? Mighty Max.
Mighty Max was a good cartoon,
and they were like the boy Polly Pockets.
I really liked Mighty Max. They actually put out like Turtles versions of like the Mighty Max things, but they were their own, and I liked those a lot. And there was a basketball one I had that was rad.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
Do you remember the ending to the Mighty Max cartoon?
Yeah, it was crazy, right? Like it was like a loop.
Yeah, dude. Norman dies.
Yeah.
And Virgil, I think, dies, and then Mighty Max just is like he has this opportunity to turn back time, and he does, and it goes back to the first episode. So if you're watching them on syndication and they're playing in order, it repeats, and then the next day you see the first episode again where it starts.
That's fucking awesome.
It's pretty neat, but also depressing.
Yeah. Well, it's like life. It's like real life.
And with that, let's get into the fantasy.
My story this week is called Zartal the Dick.
Love it.
It's pretty self-explanatory, I guess. All right. Deep in the woods of suffering on Daranos' westernmost northern southern peninsula lay a dank, dark cabin made out of the bones of the unfortunate warriors who dare traverse through the wood looking for hot sluts to bone.
Damn.
Fucking crazy.
Why are the hot sluts hiding in the scary forest?
Dude, hot sluts hide everywhere.
Yeah, makes sense.
Bars.
No, those are fucking scary.
Sad forest bars.
If you're anything like me, bars they're scary.
They are very scary. If you don't go there a lot, they're really scary.
Mm-hmm.
But there nay be any hot sluts here. only the laboratory of Daranos' most evil necromancer, Zartal the Dick. The floor creaked as Zartal walked across the cottage into his really fucking cool alchemist lab. He had inherited the ghastly cabin after graduating from Martin Luther King Jr. Alchemy Community College. And from
who exists in your world,
yeah,
right?
It's canon. It's canon.
In your world. That is canon.
It's totally canon.
Mm-hmm.
And also from his great uncle Zebus the Wise, spelled with a Z, because that's just how my man rolled. Zartal sat down at his alchemy desk and pondered a moment. I grow weary of this solitary lifestyle, even though I get to wear my underwear all damn day, and it's awesome. I need an assistant to help me carry out my greatest evil spell, he said, stroking his long beard, and then he touched his wiener for some reason.
Because that happens when you live alone and you sit down to think.
Yeah.
You're like, well, no one's gonna yell at me if I do this.
Right. I'm in my underwear, so I might as well do this now.
Why not?
I'm doing it right now, man.
There is a lot of truth in this episode already.
It's true. Zartal stood up, and his evil dong was all bunched up like a muskrat in his whitey tighties. I shall use necromancy, he said, as thunder and lightning struck a wolf, and it howled and probably died. But first I shall put on pants. Zartal went to his room and grabbed his favorite pair of Zubas. He was now ready to perform the most evil of magics.
What was the Zubas pattern, if I could ask?
Raiders. Everyone had Raiders.
Totally makes sense. Black and white floor.
The most evil team in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I call on the spirits of the damned to bring me the most vile, the most wretched soul, so that I may have an assistant to cast my most evil spell in the land and finally win that necromancy Emmy. He beckoned to his bookshelf. Out flew a really old tome, one that even Zartal had never dared peer into. The book.
Damn, he just speaks to his bookshelf and books come out?
Dude, man, what's the point of being a necromancer if you can't do that?
If you can't talk to a book. Oh my god.
It's
okay,
like,
keep going.
It's like an internet library. Give me Twilight.
Twilight.
He probably reads it.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of time on his hands. The book flung itself at him, and just as it was about to strike him, it opened with a blinding purple light. Zartal blew the dust off the page and began to read. If you're reading this, you probably want to summon an undead assistant. Recite the spell below, and you'll be well on your way to that necromancy Emmy you never shut the fuck up about.
Oh, man.
Zartal began to recite the spell. Standing tall on the wings of my dreams, rise and fall on the wings of my dream.
That spell sounds pretty familiar, pretty close to the Perfect Strangers theme.
Yeah, but they never heard it in Daranos.
Yeah, but that's what's great about Daranos is that a lot of things that exist in our world exist in theirs, and it's just, that's the way it is.
Yeah, who's to say that we didn't get it from them, you know?
Yeah, true.
I mean, it's canon.
It's canon.
Suddenly, the earth began to quake as if 1,000 double bass drums were just fucking rocking out. The entire room turned green and hazy. Zartal's evil three-headed dog, Muttley, shat itself and hid in the corner.
Oh, man.
A million screeching spirits flew through the house. Some of them opened up Zartal's fridge and ate his evil puddings. My fucking puddings, he yelled. Finally, the entire cottage shook. Dust and ghost privates were flying everywhere, and just as quickly as all those ghost dongs and tits appeared, they vanished. The cabin fell eerily silent. YOLO! Shouted Zartal, and he threw up the horns. He's kind of a dick, so he says YOLO.
Kind of a weird combination of things.
He doesn't know. He's not cool. He's just,
yeah.
He doesn't know. Suddenly, out of nowhere, came a loud pounding on the door. Zartal went over and peered through the whole thing that lets you see outside. You know, those things nobody knows the name of. Just as he went to...
A peephole?
Is that what they call it?
Maybe.
I don't know. That sounds dirty. I don't want to call it that.
Sneak a peep.
Peephole? I don't like that.
Yeah, that's not.
Not canon. Just as he went to peer through that thing, the door flew open and knocked him down on his beehole. In the doorway stood a 7-foot-tall skeleton with all kinds of sick, rotting flesh meat hanging off of him, mostly where his poop organs used to be. That's sick, dude. Zartal retched and puked up a magical spare key for his Dragula he had swallowed like 7 years prior.
He has a Dracula.
Dude, he's a necromancer. Fuck yeah, he's got a Dragula.
Oh, man, that rules.
He's cool as shit. He's kind of a dick, though. The Skeleman lurched towards Zartal, and he whizzed himself a bit. Like when you don't shake enough after taking a piss at the bar.
Another thing I hate about bars.
Dude, that's the worst. For real, that's the worst. Halt, I say, you evil spawn, for I am your master, Zartal commanded. Oh, hi, the Skeleman said cheerily. I'm Gary. The Undead Guild sent me over from the new temp agency. I guess I'll be your assistant for the time being. Good, Zartal said, relieved. We must get right to work on the greatest evil act ever seen in these parts. I summoned the most evil undead assistant. I trust you are comfortable with performing evil acts, Zartal asked. Well, I was pretty darn evil when I was alive, Gary confessed. Zartal started to walk over to his work area and gather some materials. Yes, please tell me about your bullshit, Zartal said. Oh.
What a dick.
Dude, he's a fucking asshole. Oh, okay. I grew up around here about 200 years ago, said Gary. Zartal rolled his eyes and made the speeded up motion with his hand. Yes, great. Get to the evil, maybe, Zartal said. Well, the reason I died was because I stole a bunch of apples, Gary confessed. That's the most evil thing you did? Zartal questioned. Yeah, I mean, stealing's pretty cool and evil, right? Plus, when the Apple Knights caught me, they hit me in the back of the head with his mace. Gary turned around, revealing a huge hole in his skull where tons of maggots and worms were crawling around, being all sick. It was dope as fuck. That is dope as fuck, said Zartal. Okay, you can be my assistant. Soon the two were feverishly gathering ingredients for the ultimate spell that would change the face of Northwest Southern Upper Daranos.
A complicated place to get to.
It's so hard to find on a map. The gas
Jesus.
Stations, they don't
and
know.
It's the one-way streets, dude. It's awful.
It's like New Jersey.
Dude, with the jug handles, hate it.
And roundabouts? Oh, what is this, France?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, my God. Zartal sliced open his own hand and poured his black blood all over the ceremonial dagger, while Gary opened up a jar of marbles and shook some human toes out that were resting on the bottom. They toiled for weeks, periodically taking whiz breaks and drinking wine until they were comfortable sharing their feelings with one another.
Oh, that's kind of sweet.
Yeah. Finally, after weeks of that bullshit, Zartal's death machine was ready. It only needed one more touch. Gary, Zartal shouted, flip on the strobe light. Gary did as he was instructed, and through the creepy fog in the room, you could see Zartal's ultimate weapon, a drum set made of bones.
Oh, man. That is evil.
When I play the world's dankest, sickest drum solo, all the surrounding area's inhabitants will be turned undead, Zartal cackled. Oh, fuck, that's sick as fuck, chattered Gary. Zartal sat down at the set and belted out the most insane 7-hour drum solo anyone had ever heard.
Oh my God, that would blow my mind.
7 hours, dude.
It'd turn me undead.
Suck on that shit, John Bonham. From the pits of heck, a misty fog drew around him and permeated outward. He played a 2-hour double bass solo, which really was just totally fucking insane. Soon the entire peninsula was covered in an undead horde. Mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, and even some forms of rodents were all necrofied. Zartal had created an army of the undead. Finally, he said, I did it. What are you going to do with your army? Asked Gary the skeleton. Oh, nothing. I kind of just wanted to see if it would work. Want to go watch Food Network? Zartal asked. And then they did.
Oh, no.
Finn.
That's so evil.
Dude, Food Network is the most evil channel.
It's so evil just to go and do that,
yeah.
And then just do it just to do it, and then watch Food Network.
Dude, he doesn't care. He's a fucking dick, man.
Oh, my God. Well, that was a great story, Josh. Great story.
Thank you.
I think you're going to find some things about my story that it's canon.
It's
Let's
canon?
just say
all
that.
right. We got some canon going. I'm ready.
Was Gary just a guy before he was killed by the Apple Knights?
Yeah, he was just like a peasant, and he just, he had the unfortunate life, I guess, of stealing an apple, and then he got fucking murdered for it.
I'm murdered by the
'Cause
apple
That
knights.
shit is serious.
That skeleton was so gross.
Yeah.
I think it's skeletons. I think it's clean bone skeletons.
No, he
Those
was
were
like a
gross.
rotting ass, like stank ass skeleton, man.
Oh man. Well, Gary, I hope we see you again.
He was nice as shit, though. I mean,
He was. He was a nice guy. He just needed an apple.
in the back of his head.
Yeah. Now it's time for my story, and this is called Warrock the Necromancer.
Dude.
Yeah.
Warrock?
Warrock.
Dude.
Warrock.
Best name.
So it's Worrock.
Best name.
Cool name.
Cool name, dude.
Thanks, bro. Wind whipped through the dark forest of Foruk. That's Forruk.
Okay.
One of the eviler forests in Orkspire.
Mm-hmm.
With a moonless sky of black above, Warrock the Necromancer made his way through the forest on his weekly evening stroll.
Oh, how lovely.
Yeah, it's a kind of a nice thing.
Yeah.
Warrock was an old dark elf, a once well-known and well-respected wizard, now turned to the dark forces of black sorcery and summoning for reasons unknown.
Oh, man.
He donned robes of black with a gold skull on his head. His thin, elvish eyes were gray, and his long white beard could be described as wispy. Yeah, that's a good word for it. His fingernails were long, but well kept. He liked them long, but he wasn't a gross weirdo. In his hand he carried a staff made from old black dragon bone, with a black dragon claw on top.
Dude, that's fucking awesome.
I know, it's something I want. Like, it's not glowing or anything, but it's just like a fucking bone
I would
staff?
I would
Awesome.
walk around with that, like, just like as a cane, you know, like how some
Hell
people
yeah,
do that.
dude.
Fuck
Yeah,
yeah.
especially if I'm going on a hike, I'm gonna be like, let me get my fucking bone staff.
Yeah, fuck yeah. What do you have, a stick? Fuck that.
Where'd you find that? The woods,
The
you
woods, the
loser?
regular woods. Idiot.
The necromancer stopped and looked around the forest. Man, nothing like a creepy-ass night in Foruk to remind you why it's so goddamn rad to be a necromancer, said Warrock.
Sometimes you just gotta stop and smell the roses.
Yeah. Living alone in the woods, eating meat pies whenever, shit rules. Seriously, living alone is the best. I drink beer all the time and fart whenever I want.
Dude, it's canon.
That's canon.
It's canon.
The only problem is, the sky got darker. My dark and mysterious past.
Oh my god.
Suddenly a voice spoke. Warrock! Who said that? The necromancer replied, shifting his eyes about. You didn't hear that part about the farts, did you? Warrock, help! The voice spoke again, coming from the east. The necromancer ran to it. Just beyond a patch of dead trees lay 3 broken skeletons with one skull still intact. It spoke again. Warrock, come on, man, are you coming? Laughing at my own joke.
That's good.
Warrock, who had just gotten there, immediately recognized the skull and yelled, Gary!
Dude!
Believe it or not, we wrote 2 stories about skeletons named Gary.
Dude! No fucking way. We did not plan that.
We did not plan that.
That
That's
was not
a pure
planned.
coincidence. It was his favorite skeleton, Gary. Gary the skeleton was his full name. Warrock both summoned him and named him. The necromancer picked up the skull and surveyed the area. Is that Jerry and Carl? Said the dark elf, pointing to the other shattered skulls. Yes, sadly, Gary spoke. We were out playing Bones Ball, a skeleton gambling game, when we were jumped by bandits. Bandits? What could they want with skeletons? Replied Warrock. Well, Jerry was wearing this green exotic hat with purple flames on it he found the other day. And you know Jerry, he just kept talking about it until some bandits rode by and told him to shut up.
Was it like a baseball hat? Like,
It's an exotic hat, and I kind of want to let the reader
Okay.
think up what that is.
I have my
can't
own
think
image
it.
of what it is in my
Me
head.
too. Draw the exotic hat, guys. Send
Yeah,
it in.
there it is.
Well, Jerry didn't really listen and told the whole story of how he found his exotic hat in someone's trash 3 times in a row, and that really pissed off the bandits, so they beat us up and took the exotic hat. Looking back, I think Jerry may have a social disorder that none of us really addressed. Good guy, though.
He's that guy.
Damn Jerry's taste for fine exotic goods. I knew they'd do him in one day, spoke Warrock. Okay, I can re-summon the rest of you, Gary. Just give me a moment here. Warrock bent down to place Gary's skull on the ground, when suddenly a wooden chair was broken upon the necromancer's back. Woo! Yelled the bandit.
Oh my god.
They had returned. Warrock lay on the ground, writhing in pain. That's right, brother. It's the big, mean, bad bandits of Forrock, and we're here to put a whooping on your ass, old man.
Now I understand the hat. Now I get that. I get it.
All the bandits in Orcspire spoke and acted like professional wrestlers. They wear brown boots, pants, and a hood with the eye holes cut out. They have no shirts, but usually have strips of leather tied around their biceps to make their veins pop out.
Dude, sick.
The bandits, a company of about 10, started climbing trees in the surrounding area and doing elbow drops off them onto Warrock's old dark elf body. While the leader of this group continued to speak, wearing Jerry's exotic hat. I am Dude Buff Muscle, head of this pack of savage bandages, and you know what, brother? I think you've been out in these woods for a little too long.
Dude.
Walking around like you own the place, but guess what? You don't. Because these trees don't grow for anybody, man. You gotta have 24-inch pythons like these bad boys. Dude made out with his arm for several minutes. The elbow assault continued as Warrock coughed up black blood.
Oh, man, everyone's got black blood?
It's
Dude,
canon.
It's canon. It's so canon.
I think them meat pies been getting to your head, brother. I'm the best bandit in the world, and it's gonna be a bad day for you, man. After I got this cool new exotic hat with purple flames on it, from your annoying skeletons, I was thinking about the perfect bone staff to go along with it. And I think I just found it, brother. Dude said as he picked up Warwick's staff. He looked it over. Yeah, this is good. I think I'll summon 6 skeletons and have them apply oil to my muscles. Oh, yeah. Now to finish what I started. Dude turned, picked up Gary's skull, and put it between his knees. No, yelled Warrock. It's time to put you in your grave, brother, said Dude as he dropped a tombstone on Gary's skull.
On his skull. On just the skull. Brilliant.
But just before it shattered, Gary yelled, "Tell the world all the lots of sex I had!" Dude laughed and took out his wrestling wiener and peed all over Gary's bone chips.
His wrestling wiener.
I think that was a typo, actually. I didn't mean to write wrestling, but
It works. It's canon now.
It's canon. Warrock was filled with rage. His eyes grew deep black. He rolled out of the way of the next elbow drop. The bandit lay on the ground in pain. Dude yelled, "Hey, what do you think you're doing, old man?" Warrock put his hand close to the injured bandit's face and began to siphon his life through black magic streams that grew out of the necromancer's fingers.
Oh, man.
As the bandit's life depleted, his hair and skin grew old and stretched tightly across his muscles and bones. Warrock clenched and twisted his hand as the bandit's eyes rolled into the back of his head and the body entered rigor mortis. Warrock was returned to good health and was filled with the bandit's physical strength. "Get this fool!" shouted Dude. Oh, man. It's hard to do that voice.
Dude, yeah.
A bandit approached the necromancer and set up for a test of strength grapple. Warrock wiggled his fingers, glanced at the bandit's hand and eyes, and matched his stance. The two walked in unison until Warrock swiped at the bandit's face, tearing his mask with his long fingernails.
Oh, man.
Oh, wait, tearing his mask and skin with his long fingernails. "My favorite face!" yelled the bandit as he grabbed the wound. The scratch mark quickly turned black and began to eat away at his flesh.
Oh, man.
The bandit screamed in horror, removed his hood, but could do nothing to stop the pain. He knelt on the ground, holding onto his face until all the skin and muscle had been eaten away, leaving a skull with 2 eyeballs still intact. The eyeballs then melted, and the skull threw up every organ in its body, which sizzled in a large acidic pile.
That's the most badass death. That's how I want to die.
Dude, it's the ultimate finisher. See it in the next Mortal Kombat. Warrock then did a roundhouse kick and knocked the skull clean off, leaving a fountain of blood spraying from the bandit's neck. Warrock rinsed his hands at the blood fountain and said, "Do you bandits know who you're dealing with? I am Warrock the Necromancer. I hang out with skeletons and sleep in a bone bed, you fools! Now you'll regret beating up my skeleton friends. Carl had a family!"
Fucking Carl. Rip Carl.
Rip Carl. As Warrock spoke, another bandit charged at him and speared him. The bandit sat on top of him and yelled, "That was my brother you killed back there, brother!"
Lots of brothers.
Lots of brothers. They're all wrestlers. This is how they talk to each other all the time. They're constantly cutting promos. The bandit tried to pound on Warrock's face, but Warrock dodged, and with momentum, the Necromancer rolled the bandit over onto his stomach. Warrock then put him into a sharpshooter, which he applied pressure to.
Dude, sharpshooter!
The bandit tapped and tapped to submit to the Necromancer's super powerful move, but he wouldn't let go. Warrock applied fierce pressure once more and broke the bandit's legs clean off.
Dude, you can't tap out of a fucking Necromancer fight.
Fucking Necromancer sharpshooter, dude. You're dead.
There's no tap out.
Blood shot everywhere as the Dark Elf turned and beat the bandit with his own goddamn legs.
Like both of them at the same time?
Yeah, he was just like one after another.
Just dual wielding them? Oh, man. Wow.
Another bandit charged at Warrock, but slipped on the puddles of blood. The Necromancer dropped an intense leg drop on the bandit's neck, which shot his head off and ricocheted off 3 trees and hit another bandit in the head, and he entered a coma and never recovered.
Dude, that's worse than dying.
I know.
That's worse than dying. Oh my.
That's Necromancers, man.
That's fucked up, man.
That's enough! Sorry, Josh, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, I love this guy.
"That's enough!" shouted Dude Buff Muscle. "If you want to be the man, then you gotta beat the man! Let's go!" Oh, Dude tossed the bone staff aside and someone tagged him in, and Motorhead started playing.
Fuck yeah.
The two began to eye each other up. Dude unleashed a vicious drop kick right on Warrock's face, which sent him flying back into a tree. Dude climbed onto 2 branches and straddled Warrock and began to punch his old face in. Dude yelled, "You asked for this, brother! This is on you!" But just then, Warrock blocked one of the punches, regained his strength, and picked Dude up and gave him a running power bomb that hit the ground so hard, a tree fell over and killed another bandit.
Dude, he's got so many moves.
Dude, he's Necromancer, man. He's been studying.
He reads about him.
Dude laid injured, trying to come to his senses. Warrock picked up his staff. "It's motherfucking summoning time," he said. Warrock started waving his arms around as black magic flowed through him, while chanting something in an unknown tongue. Suddenly, all around them, the ground began to rumble, and pieces of bone from all sorts of animals, beasts, and demons came ripping through the dirt, collecting in the air.
Dude.
The bones began to take the form of some disgusting bone monstrosity with 8 legs and 2 tails and tremendous jaws. The summoning was complete. The beast stood as tall as the trees, and Warrock spoke, "I'll see your ass in the bone afterlife with my boys Jerry, Gary, and Carl, you sack of shitty dirt." And the bone beast sweat down and picked up Dude in his mouth and chewed him alive, and it rained blood all about the area. The remaining bandits were soaked, and then they walked home in shame.
Dude.
Warrock looked to the ground and saw Jerry's exotic hat. He picked it up, examined the fine stitching on the purple flames, then placed it in his satchel. "Yeah, there was something definitely wrong with Jerry," said Warrock, and he climbed aboard the beast and rode him home. The end.
The moral being, Jerry's fashion sense is bullshit.
Jerry, you gotta cut back on the exotic stuff, man.
Dude, he's showing off too much. You can't wear your new Barclays in the hood.
That's the moral of the story. Don't wear your Barclays to the hood and brag about it. You'll get in trouble.
That was a great story. I loved it. Thank
you.
Good job. Dude, so good. I can't believe Gary made an appearance in both
stories.
Weird,
fucking the
man.
Same Gary, maybe? I don't know.
Maybe.
I killed him in mine. I think they might be cousins.
Named both Gary.
People have been asking about Keep On Wizardin shirts, which might be a thing soon.
Maybe. Keep your wizard eyes open.
Keep your third wizard eye. Dude. That's your pee hole. See, this is the 13-year-old boy.
I know. We should
about.
really clean this podcast up.
The fuck up.
We should clean this podcast the pee hole up.
Also, we get emails from people with stories in this tone, and we encourage people to send us stories. You can send us an email at fantasyficpod@gmail.com. And we've received stories this week, and we received a lot, so we don't have time to read them on air, but I want to read the names and the titles of the stories here. And thank you guys for sending them. Fred Atkins for sending a Tavern Tale story, which was last week's episode, which is great. Jordan Etherington. I'm sorry, I'm really bad with pronouncing names.
Fantasy-ass name again, man. That's why I can't pronounce
that is
it.
a fantasy-ass name, honestly. He wrote the story Sir Roderick and the Dorito Conspiracy.
That, I would like to read that.
I want to thank George Smith for sending us a really interesting, we'll call it an epic. George shared with us a very interesting story that we unfortunately can't share, but it was really cool. And thank you for sending us that, George. That was really awesome. Finally, Tyler Collin for sending us The Meaning of Existence, which Josh is really interested to read because he's been wondering.
I'm very curious as to what that is. So, I mean, if it has the meaning of existence in it, which it probably does, I will be reading that later.
There's just better not be some lost shit where it doesn't answer anything.
Right. I'll be really mad if it is that.
Thank you guys again for sending us stories. We want to present these out to people with if it's okay, and we're still thinking of the proper way to do that.
Right.
So I'll write you guys and see if we can do it, and we'll coordinate something.
Yeah, if you send it to us, just let us know if it's okay, if we can put it up in the future or whatever.
Okay, brother, the prop for next week is Josh, tell me.
It's a mythical beast. Yeah.
That's submitted to us by Alex Coulter. Thank you. We used it from the last week's prompts because we didn't have one today until just now. So thank you.
And we're sober enough to remember to have a prompt.
To almost remember. Thank you guys for listening, and thanks for everything. You guys are great.
Yeah, keep going to the Facebook and the Twitter and the iTunes, and keep on wizarding.
Keep on wizarding. See you guys. See you next week. Bye.